Everybody, this is Jim at SP500chart.com. I've been outside this afternoon, got back a little early, but I think I've got pollen in my head, so bear with my voice. Before we look at the chart, I need to remind you, as always, that the website and this video are for educational purposes only, and nothing stated at the site or in the video is intended to be used as investment advice. I can draw lines on charts, but you have to draw your own conclusions from your own research and make investment decisions that are suitable for your personal financial situation. And I am not a licensed financial professional. I'm just a guy who draws lines on charts. So let's take a look. Well, you'll see right off the bat that we managed today to get up over this descending trend line. And I mentioned... let me get rid of that. There we go. I mentioned yesterday that I thought that would be likely the sign that that the S&P is in the process of making a reversal pattern. Now, what's interesting is from the high up here at about 1890, where was it? Roughly 1897 to the low, let's call it 1815. That is an 82-point swing, and we've already gotten more than half of that back in the past two sessions. As a matter of fact, we've done it in a day and a half of trading, because we were down around that 1816 around the middle of the day. Yesterday. So nice move today. Let's see if we put the brakes on up here at this extended line that's at about 1872. That would not surprise me. And it even wouldn't surprise me if we ended up coming back to make a go for a back test of this line. You can see we got a little bit of a one right here after we broke out. We did pull back just a little bit, but I think we need to be realistic about this and realize it's not going to be a straight line, and it would not surprise me one bit if we came down and back tested this descending red line, and that could happen before or after we get up to this 1872 level, but it certainly looks like the market is ready and willing to challenge 1872. The question simply being, does it need to pull back a little bit before doing it, or would we do that right away? Kind of interesting to note that if we were to do that right away, if we were to get up to 1872 and then come back for a back test, or even come back to this level where we broke out around 1848. Again, that could set up another inverted head and shoulders pattern. But I don't want to go there yet, because we're not there yet. If we look at this on a 3-minute chart, you can see that we had that nice move up, then a little flag formed. Get my tools. We're going to identify that, a little bull flag that then broke out. We then made another little bull flag. This one was not a descending wedge. This one was really just a little triangle pattern. And if we look at what happened today, you can see that it is all constrained thusly. So we have a small descending wedge here, a small symmetrical triangle here, but all of it is sort of, I didn't mean to do that. All of it is sort of in the shape of a slight wedge shape that is rising. So we all know that usually means that this bottom line will break down, and we will experience some kind of pullback likely at that point. I'm extending these lines here because a lot of times we find that that extended lines from a wedge pattern, and I'm assuming this might be a wedge, oftentimes they point us in the direction of a technically significant level. And for what it's worth, it looks like these converge if they hold up this way. They could change tomorrow. It looks like these converge right on about 1880. So I just do that more than anything else out of habit, because I like to do that. Oftentimes you end up spotting a technically significant level when you extend trend lines in a converging pattern. That can apply to triangles and wedges. Just like yesterday, we spotted this descending wedge, and if we extended these lines on down, if I can grab this little handle here, we would see that that they converged right at this blue line that I'm highlighting. And that blue line just so happened to be a descending trend line where we've been getting good solid bounces. Now that doesn't mean that little wedge pattern necessarily means we have to go there, but it often means that you find a technically important line when you look at where that wedge has its apex. So if this breaks down tomorrow, this lower line, then I think that would be a good sign that yeah, we're going to come down and we're going to back test either this red line or back test the level where we were at before we broke out, or right where we broke out today. So this was a nice solid day for bulls. Felt good. We are also spent the entire day, once we got over our gray area right here, we spent the entire day over it. So the failure of that inverted and truncated head and shoulders pattern right here may be in the process of getting a save. So let's just see if we can get up and test some of these other resistance lines. The one to really crack is still 1884, and that's still 22 points above us. I don't think we're going to get there right away. If we do, great, but I'm not thinking that's going to happen. But you can see when we back out just a little bit more, you can see now how it looks like we just needed to come down a bit in this little descending channel. And the fact that we made one touch on the bottom line resistance here, a touch here, and then broke out over this, tells me this is looking more and more like just a simple corrective move, simply because this was a premature move over 1884, and that had to be taken back, erased, and because the pendulum swung a little too high here, when it came down, it swung a little lower than what we would normally have expected. So it's looking like we may avoid that 1800 level that I was thinking we were likely going to test for a couple days last week. So maybe not. Let's just see how things play out in relation to this broken resistance line and the resistance lines that we see overhead now at about 1872 and 1884. And remind you, when you break a resistance line that is descending, that line typically turns into support. Now, this one didn't. Okay? It almost did here. But we actually had to come back inside of these two lines right here. This was resistance, this was support. We came back into this pattern and found support again before we finally got out of that. It looks like we're probably out of this pattern for good now. But a back test to this red line would not be unexpected, shouldn't catch anybody by surprise. So good day. Let's see what happens with our funny little rising wedge here. Like I said, if this bottom line breaks, then I would expect a move down to test either the gap level right here, this red descending line, or best case scenario if that happens would be to back test the level of the breakout, which happened right at about 1844. Excuse me, 1848, 1849. So that's your video for April 16th, 2014. Thanks for taking time out of your day to watch it, and take care.